This is 2 Samuel 13 through 15. So 13, 14, and 15. We are day 135, Blue Letter Bible app, Bible in a year. Got to knock out a couple days today. I'm behind. So let's get caught up. And it came to pass that after this, Absalom, son of David, had a fair sister whose name was Tamar. And Ammon, who was the son of David, loved her. Ammon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin, and Ammon it was hard for him to do anything to her. But Ammon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, and the son of Shea, David's brother. Jonadab was a very subtle man. And it came to him, Why art thou being the king's son lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Ammon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. And Jonadab said unto him, Lay thee down on thy bed, and make thyself sick, and when thy father come to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, and that I may see it and eat it at her hand. So Ammon lay down on himself sick. And when the king was come to see him, Ammon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come and make me a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat it at her hand. And David sent home to Tamar, saying, Go now thy brother's Ammon's house, and dress him meat. So they're saying, go feed him. And Tamar went to her brother Ammon's house, and he laid down, and she took the flour and kneaded it and made cakes in his sight, and did bake the cakes. And she took the pan and poured them out before him, and he refused to eat it. And Ammon said, Have all the men from me. And they went out, and every man from him. And Tamar said unto Tamar, Bring the meat unto the chamber, that I may eat at thy hand. And Tamar took the cakes, and she made, and brought them into the chamber, and Ammon to her brother. And she had brought them to eat, and took hold of her, and said unto her, Come lie with me, my sister. And she answered him, Nay, my brother, do not force me, so do not such thing ought to be done in Israel, and not done in this folly. Okay, so there's going to be trouble in the house because of what David did to Uriah. So now he's answering for that. And so he's going to have all this trouble in his house. And I hither, while I should cause shame and go, and for thee shall not be one of fools in Israel. Now, therefore, I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. Howbeit, he would hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, he forced her and lay with her. And Ammon hated her exceedingly, so that hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he loved her. And Ammon said unto her, Arise, be gone. And she said unto him, There is no cause of evil in sending me away, is greater than the other thou did unto me. But he would not hearken unto her. And he called his servant that ministered unto him, and said, Now put this woman out from me, and bolt the door after her. And she had a garment of diverse colors upon her, for such a robe were the king's daughters that were virgins and apparelled. And then the servant brought her out, bolted the door after her. And Tamar put the ashes on her head, and rent her garment of diverse colors that was on her, laid on her head, and went out on crying. And Absalom her brother said unto her, Hath Ammon thy brother been with thee? But behold now, peace, my sister. He is thy brother. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. And when King David heard of all these things, he was very wroth. And Absalom spake unto his brother Ammon, and neither good nor bad. But Absalom hated Ammon, and because he had forced his sister Tamar. And it came to pass that after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal Hazor, which besides Ephraim. And Absalom invited the king's sons. And Absalom came to thy king and said, Behold now, thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servants go with thy servant. And the king said to Absalom, Nay, my son, let us not all now go, lest we be chargeable unto thee. And he pressed him, howbeit would it not go, but blessed him. And Absalom said, If not, I pray thee, let my brother Ammon go with us. And the king said unto him, Why should he go with thee? But Absalom pressed him. He let Ammon and all the king's sons go with him. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, Mark ye now when Ammon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say unto you, Smite Ammon, then kill him. Fear not, fear not. Have I not commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant. And the servants of Absalom did unto Ammon, and Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man gat up upon his mule and fled. And when it came to pass, while they were in the way, the tidings came to David, saying, Absalom has slain all the king's sons, and there is not one of them left. And the king arose, and tare his garments, and lay on the earth. And all his servants stood by their clothes rent. And Jonadab, the son of Shema, David's brother, answered and said, Let not my lord suppose that they have slain all the young men and the king's son, for Ammon only is dead. For by appointment of Absalom, this has been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. Now, therefore, let not my lord take the thing to his heart, all the king's sons, to think all the king's sons are dead, for Ammon only is dead. But Absalom fled, and the young man that kept the watch lifted up thy eyes and looked, and behold, and there came much people by the way of the hill beside him. And Jonadab said unto the king, Behold, the king's sons are come. And thy servant said, So it is. And it came to pass, as soon as he made an end of speaking, that behold, the king's sons came, lifted up their voice and wept. And all the king and all his servants wept very sore. But Absalom fled, and went to Tamali, the son of Amud, king of Geshur, and David mourned for his son every day. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur, and there were 3 years. And the soul of King David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Ammon, seeing he was dead. Now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that the king's heart was towards Absalom. And Joab sent to Tekoa, and fetched hence a wise woman, and said to her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner, and put on now the mourning apparel, and anoint not thyself with oil, but be as a woman that has long time mourned for the dead. Oh, good morning, Image Church. There you go. And come to the king and speak on this matter unto him. So Joab put the words in her mouth. And when the woman of Tekoa spake, Scanner Darkly was a good movie. Okay. And when the woman of Tekoa spake the king, she fell on her face on the ground and did obeisance. And said, Help, O king. And the king said to her, What aileth thee? And she answered him, I am indeed a widow, a woman, and my husband is dead. And thy handmaid and 2 sons are they that strove together in the field, and there was none a part of them. But one smote the other and slew him. And behold, the whole family is risen against thy handmaid. And they said, Deliver him that smote his brother, and that we may kill him for the life of his brother whom he slew, and we will destroy the heir also. And they shall quench my coal which is left, and shall not leave my husband neither, name nor reminder upon the earth. And the king said unto the woman, Go to thine house, and I will give thee charge concerning thee. And the woman of Tekoa said unto the king, My lord, O king, the iniquity be on me and my father's house, and the king and his throne be guiltless. And the king said, Whoever saith aught unto thee, bring thee him to me, and he shall not touch thee any more. And then he said, I pray thee, let the king remember that Jehovah thy God, that thou wouldest not suffer revengers of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, As Jehovah liveth, there shall not be one hair of thy son to fall on earth. Then the woman said, Let thy handmaid, and I pray thee, speak one word unto the Lord the king. And he said, Say on. And the woman said, Therefore, when thou hast thought people a thing against the people of God, for the king doth speak these things as one which is faulty. In the king doth not fetch home again his banished. He didn't go after the lost sheep. For we must needs die, and are not water spit on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again, neither doth God respect any person, no respecter of persons. Yet doth he devise means that banished be not expelled from him. Now therefore I am come to speak of this thing unto my lord the king, because the people have made me afraid. And thy handmaid said, Now speak unto the king, that it may be that the king will perform the request of his handmaid. For the king will hear and deliver his handmaid out of the hand of the man that would destroy me and my son together, out of the inheritance of God. Then thy handmaid said, hold on here. Okay. Then thy handmaid said, The word of Jehovah the king shall now be comfortable. For as an angel of God, so is my Lord the king to discern the good and the bad. Therefore, Jehovah thy God will be with thee. And the king answered and said unto the woman, Hide not from me, and I pray thee the thing that I shall ask thee. And the woman said, Let my lord the king now speak. And the king said, It is not the hand of Joab with thee in all this. And the woman answered and said, As thy soul liveth, my lord the king, none can turn to the right hand or to the left. Aught that my lord the king hath spoken for thy servant Joab. He bade me, and he put all these words in my mouth of thy handmaid, to fetch about this form of speech thy servant Joab done this thing. And my Lord is wise according to the wisdom of an angel of God, to know all things that are in the earth. And the king said unto Joab, Behold, now I have done this thing. Go therefore and bring this young man Absalom again. And Joab fell to the ground on his face and bowed himself and thanked the king. And Joab said, Today thy servant knoweth that I have found grace in thy sight, my lord, O king, that the king hath fulfilled the request of his servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, Let him turn his own house, and let him not see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house and not saw the king's face. But in all Israel there was none to be so praised as Absalom for his beauty. From the sole of his feet even to the crown of the head, there was no blemish in him. And when he pulled his head, for every year at the end he pulled it, because the hair was heavy on him. Therefore he pulled it. And he weighed the hair on his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight. And unto Absalom there were born 3 sons, 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. And she was a woman of fair countenance. So Absalom dwelt 2 years in Jerusalem, and saw not the king's face. Therefore Absalom sent for Joab, and have sent to him the king. But he would not come to him. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come. Therefore he said unto his servants, See, Joab's field is near mine, and he hath barley there. Go and set it on fire. And Absalom's servants set the field on fire. And Joab arose and came to Absalom at his house, and said unto him, Wherefore have thy servants set my field on fire? And Absalom answered Joab, Behold, I sent unto thee, saying, Come hither, and that I may send to thee to the king, to say, Wherefore I am come from Geshur, and have been good for me now to have been there still. Now, therefore, let me see the king's face, and if there be any iniquity in me, let him kill me. So Joab came to the king and told him. And when the king had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Absalom. And it came after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man had controversy and came to the king for judgment, that Absalom called unto him and said, Of what city art thou? And he said, Thy servant is of one of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, See thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. And Absalom said, Moreover, I were made judge in the land, that every man which hath any suit or cause might cometh unto me, and I would do him justice. And it was so that when any man came nigh unto him to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand and took and kissed him. And on this matter did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go, pay my vow, which I have vowed unto Jehovah in Hebron. For thy servant vowed a vow, while I abode in Geshur in Syria, saying, If Jehovah shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve Jehovah. And the king said unto him, Go in peace. So he rose, and he went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, As soon as ye hear the sound of the trumpets, then ye shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called. And when they were in their simplicity, they had knew not anything. But Absalom sent for Athaliah, the Gilite, and David's counselor from the city, from Gio, in which he offered sacrifices. And the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom. And there came messengers unto David, saying, The hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, Arise, let us flee, for we shall not escape from Absalom, need make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. And the king's servants said unto the king, Behold, thy servants are ready to do whatever so my lord the king shall appoint. And the king went forth, and all his household after him, and the king left 10 women, which were concubines, to keep the house. And the king went forth, and all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was afar off. And all the servants passed on beside him, and all the Cherethites, and all the Pelethites, and the Gittites, and 600 men that came after him from Gath passed on before the king. And they said the king to Attai the Gittite, Therefore goest thou with us, and return to thy place, and abide with the king. For thou art a stranger, and also an exile. Whereas thou camest but yesterday, should I this day make us go up and down with us, seeing I go whither I return, and take back thy brethren, mercy, truth be with thee. And Attai answered the king and said, At the Lord liveth, and as the Lord and the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, and there will be thy servant be. And David said to Attai, Go and pass over. And Attai the Gittite passed over, and all his men, and all the little ones that were with him, and all the country that wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. And the king also himself passed over the brook Kedron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. And lo, Zadok also, and all the Levites that were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God, and Abiathar went up until all the people had done passing out of the city. And the king said unto Zadok, Carry back the ark of God into the city, If I shall find favor in the eyes of Jehovah, he will bring me again and show me both it and the habitation. But if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here I am. Let him do to me as he seemeth good unto him. Unto his will it be done. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come a word from you to certify me. Zadok, therefore, and Abiathar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. David went up by the ascent of Mount Olivet and wept as he went, and his head covered, and he went barefoot, and all the people that was with him covered every man his head, and they went and weeping as they went up. And David told, and one told David, saying, Apoliel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, Oh, Jehovah, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Apoliel into foolishness. And it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount where he worshipped God, behold, Hushai, the Archite, came to meet him with the coat rent and the earth upon his head. Unto whom David said, If thou passest on with me, then thou shalt be a burden unto me. But if thou return to the city and say unto Absalom, I will be thy servant, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hitherto, so I will also now be thy servant. Then mayest thou for me defeat the counsel of Apoliel. And then thou hast not be there with Zadok and Abiathar the priest. Therefore it shall be that what thing soever thou shalt hear out of the king's house, thou shalt tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priest. Behold, they have there with them 2 sons, Ahaz and Zadok's son, and Jonathan Abiathar's son. Let them ye send unto me everything you can hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom came into Jerusalem. That was day 135, 2 Samuel 13 through 15. Okay, so he is having trouble with Absalom, and so he is paying his dues now. You're going to get some lumps when you make a transgression such as that. You'll have to pay the price, and so he's paying it. And tomorrow's reading, 136, is a bunch of Psalms that'll kind of let us know how David was feeling about all this, because these are bad times for David. His house is in turmoil. All right, love you guys.